Hi, Monica. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. How are things going this month with your friendship skills?
Pretty good. We're still chugging along.
All right. Tell me a little bit about something that's gone well.
We're definitely having the infants more together, whether it's, holding multiple infants at once on a rocking chair when we're tired, or putting some of the little ones together on the floor, or in high chairs for meals, bottles, things like that. So just kind of trying to get them to interact together more.
Okay. And what do you feel like you're struggling with?
Definitely just noticing when they are noticing each other or doing friendship skills and, kind of missing that opportunity to recognize it.
Okay.
And using the language that I
Sure.
need to use.
Sure. Okay. Well, that was something I noticed when I was reviewing our last meeting, was that we were having a hard time separating out a skill from a strategy and the materials. So everything was getting kind of convoluted.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe what we would coach on today was, you mentioned that you were still struggling with like recognizing some of those skills, that we would kind of go through and try to separate those things out into skills, strategies, and then materials.
Okay.
And maybe we could work on a new goal together,
Okay.
separating those things out. So when we talk about skills for friendship, we're talking about getting your friend's attention, sharing or giving toys, sharing, requesting toys, being the play organizer, giving a play idea, and giving compliments. So which one of those skills would you like to work on?
Getting your friend's attention.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, just because obviously a lot of the little ones and the older ones don't know how to interact all the way. So I'm like, even though we're kind of a play organizer, it's like more of how do you get a friend's attention, or even noticing when they're trying to get each other's attention. Like that's
Okay.
what they're trying to do. Like that's their goal.
All right. Sounds good. So when we go to write our little goal that says the practice I'm going to try, so we'll want to say the skill I'm going to try is getting our friend's attention. That will be our skill.
Okay.
Okay. So tell me, what does getting your friend's attention look like in the infant room?
It's a lot of, touching, grabbing, eye contact, kind of looking at each other or making noises at each other, doing things that kind of say, hey, look at me.
Okay. So definitely there's things going on trying to get their peers' attention in your classroom. Is there an area of your classroom or specific toys in your classroom that you think would be good to include as you try to work with the infants on getting their friends' attention?
I would say like our music area, or even just toys in general that make noise and, get their friends' attention. Just because most of the time, like if a friend has a rattle or something, or even has a toy that's singing a song, like other infants are interested in that. And they, look at their friend, or, even smile sometimes if they're shaking a rattle crazy because they like that.
Okay. So the material that you might need is what?
Like just rattles or noisy toys or music toys, like sound.
Okay. Okay. So tell me more about when have you recognized, so we'll talk about strategies. So on this screen where it talks about children need opportunities to practice, what we're really talking about here is strategies. What strategies are you using to teach getting your friends' attention? So, in infants we do a lot of modeling, of course, because they're nonverbal. We talked a lot about kind of peer buddies. But what peer buddies really means is putting a child who has a skill buddied up with a child who doesn't have that skill,
Okay.
so that the one child who has the skill can model and teach the skill to the buddy who doesn't have the skill. So you definitely have that opportunity in infant room, because you do have older infants and younger infants that have very different skills. So if we're talking about using that strategy, that would be kind of what that strategy looks like. Friendship art or opportunities for children to do, create, build. I wouldn't say it's limited to just art. When I did your Tippy Toes, you did some great friendship activities with building with blocks.
Okay.
When I was in there, but setting up an opportunity for them to practice some of those friendship skills.
Okay.
So role playing, they're a little young, but that would be maybe with puppets or with older kids, role playing with your co-teacher, or setting up some kind of group game, or having a center with activities or materials designed to promote friendship skills. So you talked about going to the art center that has materials that make noise to promote friendship skills. So one of your strategies is going to be using your music area.
Okay.
Can you think of another strategy you might use?
I mean, besides like a center music, another thing is a lot of modeling language. Just because obviously they can't talk, so we kind of have to do the talking for them and let them know what they're doing, or how a friend's responding, or how they're interacting and doing this skill, because they won't know that that's what they're doing. So yeah, definitely a lot of modeling.
Walk me through what that modeling looks like or sounds like.
Okay, so like Jackson's an older infant, and he likes to play with friends, but just kind of getting their attention. He hits them with toys and stuff. So kind of noticing when he's, wanting, like if he is hitting a child, like, hey Jackson, I see that, you might be trying to get your friend's attention and play with them. So, I wonder what we could do, or how we could play with this friend, when you're not hurting them or making them cry, where we're making them smile or even laugh, because, that's what your goal is to get their attention to play with them.
Right.
So definitely noticing is going to be the biggest thing when he's wanting to do that. What those cues look like, kind of being the peacemaker to try to show him how to play with his friends,
So
or get their attention appropriately.
So you're anticipating a situation.
Yes.
Okay, so when you go to do this activity, you're going to anticipate a situation where some of your older infants may come to that area and maybe inappropriately get a friend's attention.
Yes.
So how do you think you could provide the support, anticipating that might happen? What strategy could you use? You already said it, but what strategy would that be?
Kind of to model for him, or like as I see him coming, be like, oh, I see, Jackson sees this friend is with has a toy that, he's interested in, or that you've got Jackson's attention, now he's going to come over here and play. And then, maybe offer something at that point so he doesn't just take the toy. Be like, you can sit with your friend, I see that you're looking at this friend, maybe we can sit next to this friend. Or they seem to really like, you shaking that rattle, look, they're laughing, So kind of anticipating it, but then before he, comes over and hits them with a toy, like showing him how they're getting each other's attention.
Right. So you'll be physically modeling and using language to model at that point how to get a friend's attention without hitting them on the head with the toy.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Great. All right, so you got a couple strategies in there. So we talked about strategies, the skill, the strategy, and then the material,
Mm-hmm.
and you said you want to use something that makes noise because
Yeah.
that is a way to get their attention.
Yes.
So the next step of that loop is that positive descriptive feedback.
Okay.
So following the appropriate behavior is the first step. So what
Mhm.
would be the appropriate behavior for Jackson?
If he, I see him not hitting him, but they're playing, so like kind of noticing that right away and being like, oh, I see, you're sitting with your friend and you got your friend's attention and, brought them a toy or, made them smile,
Mm-hmm.
because he, we don't want him to hit them. So,
Right.
so when we notice he is doing the correct behavior, acknowledging that and being, excited about it and letting him know that, like, we see that, he's doing what he's supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes us happy.
Right. So following that appropriate behavior, say what you see, which is exactly what you just said to me, and then conveyed with enthusiasm. We know that children or infants aren't going to understand all the words we say, but they understand our tone of voice, and they understand our emotions. And then it's contingent on the effort. So does he have to be 100% successful? No. Neither do we. It's contingent on effort. That's what I love about Pyramid. It's about doing your best, trying new things.
Yeah. Well, there's times, like,
and making
if he
steps.
does go up and hit them, he's, like, will hand them a toy or something and then made it better, I guess. So, like, even though, like, that's initially how you got their attention, you still were able to, understand that they were upset, give them a toy, or even just kind of just stared at him, because sometimes that's even what it is. So just kind of guiding him on how do we get our friend's attention. What are the appropriate ways to get our friend's attention.
Yep. So we'll model it and provide that guidance. Then we'll recognize when he's doing the appropriate behavior. And I think that's one of the hardest things is to watch for that appropriate behavior and then, fall all over it and make a big deal about it because we're so tuned to seeing the negative or what needs to happen or what's happening that shouldn't happen that it's really hard to retrain our brain to follow the appropriate behavior. So, but it's a big part of that feedback loop to encourage the child to continue with the behavior that you're modeling for him to use. And then the next part of that is the opportunities for children to reflect. So I know the examples on the screen are very preschool oriented. But you kind of mentioned this earlier, that there are some opportunities for the children to reflect, and you kind of said it. So when you were talking about when Jackson shakes the rattle or does something with the toy and someone looks at him and smiles, you said you're making him feel happy. So that's an opportunity to reflect with Jackson that his actions with his interactions with his peers that he's making someone happy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So when you were giving the positive descriptive feedback, who was the focus of that?
On Jackson. The one that we're trying to, like, teach the skill to.
Right. On Jackson, using the skill that you're trying to teach. And then when you're saying a reflective statement, then who was your focus of that statement? Who was the focus?
The other child that he was interacting with.
Right. That he was interacting with the other child and made them feel happy. Okay. So we can do it with infants.
Yes.
Just looks a little different. All right, and then go ahead and take some time to write.
Just don't want to forget
down.
this.
Yes. Okay, and then the last part of the circle is connecting with families. So how could we connect with families on your goal of teaching the skill, getting your friend's attention?
So using Life Cubby to either add something in, like, a lesson plan that we can just kind of let them know what our focus is on that week or even just that day, and then posting pictures of them doing it, and kind of maybe even giving a little more detail on the actual picture on, like, you know, what the skill is and how they demonstrated it or how we supported them to demonstrate it.
Yeah.
I mean, and also at pickup, you know, we can mention a couple things as well that, you know, we did or saw them use this skill. Maybe ask if there's anything that they see at home that they're also maybe doing this, so we know maybe it's working.
Yeah. I mean, with Jackson, you know, he has siblings, so you know, maybe that might be a good conversation to have with Mom. All right, so how are you feeling now about your goal?
It's definitely more clear. The
Okay.
goal is getting your friends' attention, so helping them get their friends' attention.
Okay. And what strategies are you going to use?
So music area is going to be one of them, since I just know that's where they like to play, and like the music, or the music and sounds and rattles and stuff. So using that area, as well as modeling the language part of it. So, you know.
And you also talked about physically modeling for Jackson how to get a friend's attention without hitting them on the head with a rattle.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. All right, and then the materials that you would use
would be the rattles, the music toys, things that make sounds.
Okay, great. And then how do you feel about that positive descriptive feedback? I know it can feel so weird trying to change your language.
Yes, having that in the classroom posted would probably be a lot easier as well, since it is still something new that I'm trying to use here. Because it's definitely not natural to me. But I want it to become more natural, where it just, when I talk, that's what comes out, nothing else.
Yeah, I know. I now just start all my sentences in the classroom with I, and then I figure out what comes
else?
next.
Yes.
Yeah, and sometimes I'm stammering there for a minute. I see. I hear.
Yep.
I wonder. But, you know, just getting that first word out and just remembering it, if you can just start with that first word and then figure out where to go after that, I think is maybe a good place to start with trying to retrain your brain to use positive descriptive feedback and to say what you see in a way that's positive or neutral. So that we're not saying no, stop, don't.
Yeah.
So, alrighty. How are other things going in your classroom?
Good. I'm like some of the newer inmates that we're getting are starting to get on, like, used to us, should I say. So we're, you know, getting those relationships with those kids, with each other as well. We have like a new teacher who's been joining us, so it's been nice to have her in there, trying to model this for her as well, and, you know, help me out when I need help. So I think things are going pretty good.
Okay. Is there any questions, concerns, problems? This is our time to kind of brainstorm and to work with you individually on anything that you want to work on. Is there anything else I can help you with or support you in?
I don't think so. Just kind of getting in there and really trying to focus now more on what the skill is and how I can teach them that.
Okay, great, fantastic. So we'll meet next week, and will be our group training, and we'll be talking about emotional literacy. That's going to be our next thing, and then we'll kind of do that same cycle we did this time. So we'll train and talk, set a goal, and then we'll have opportunity to practice and record. Then we'll come back in with our group and watch our recordings and give ourselves some feedback and talk about how things went. And then you'll have your individual coaching, and I'll try to come into your classroom sometime between maybe 1 and 3, the times we meet. But before we come in, I'll come in to do your classroom coaching, and then I'll be interested to see some your friendship
Yes.
skills happening in there. But if you think of anything else that you'd like me to bring to that, reach out.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Monica.
Thank you.